Hey girl, hey! What's the tea? What's the gossip? Let's talk about it. And I was like, are we okay? Like, what is going on? I'm literally obsessed. I'm really bad. Are you gonna be my audience member? We have an audience member in today's YAP sessions. Millie Bear is in the building. Hi. She's just really up in my business. Okay, Millie, do you not like my mic? You want to say something to the people? I don't know what she wants. Millie. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of YAP Sessions. What's going on? What's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Want to check in, say hello. I hope you guys enjoyed my first episode. It was really fun. And every time I was editing that video, I was just like laughing and dying because it was just the funniest thing. Really want to have fun with these videos, and I really hope that it like translate and lands the way I want it to, and I hope people are also enjoying them. But today, I want to go over a few things with you guys, and I want to talk about media that I've been consuming instead of doom scrolling. And I got this idea from honestly TikToks. So it was kind of counterintuitive because it was like, instead of doom scrolling, we are going to be looking at TikToks about media that we should be consuming instead of being on TikTok. You know what though? I can't really say I doom scroll, except if you are chronically online and you are currently watching and seeing and consuming all the things going on with the Jeffrey Epstein files, and also with our political climate, and also just everything going on in the world, it is hard not to doom scroll right now, I feel. Especially with the Epstein files, I feel like it's like my algorithm is just like, it is just scary. So I thought, you know what? Let's do something a bit more fun and a little bit more lighthearted. And I'm not going to be talking about those things. Don't worry. We're not talking about the Epstein files. I am not going to become a conspiracy theorist or talking about those things. There's just so many content creators that do that. And like, we don't need to hear me talk about it. I mean, I do have lots of things to say, but I just don't know where to start. Anywho, this idea did come from a TikTok. And it was mostly like Substack and like things like that, like media that like, Substack media, or really any kind of media that you're consuming, like books or anything. And I was like, this is so fun. I've done a post like that before. And mostly the type of media that I do consume is usually YouTube videos. I really haven't been on my Substack game. I really do love Substack. I love that like those kind of apps and like websites are really coming back, because for me, like honestly, like I used a lot of Tumblr posts and stuff for things like that. And I like that things are, coming back and doing that. A lot of people say Substack reminds them of like Wattpad, which I'm like, I don't know if I was really on Wattpad. Wattpad. Anyways, we're not able to pronounce words. I just wanted to do something a little bit more lighthearted and not so like doomy, because I feel like right now the world is just full of doom, and it is very easy to doom scroll. And I feel like these kind of things are good to get out of that like mindset of doom scrolling and constantly replaying all these things that are going on. It's really hard. And, I just feel like for your mental health, you have to separate yourself from that and just try to not even consume, just try to like do other things and like just get away from the noise, which is really hard to do. Honestly, it is difficult. I digress. Let's get into media that I've been consuming instead of doom scrolling. On my YouTube, I get a lot of recommended videos, and I see things all the time on there of different videos that obviously the algorithm is going to say, oh, maybe you'll like this. You watch this kind of stuff, maybe you'll like this. So this started honestly from this video that I first saw. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's interesting. So the first one, the YouTube channel is Condé Nast Traveler. And the title of it was A Full Day with New York City Ballet's Sugar Plum Fairy. And I guess the series is called Ask a Local, which I thought was kind of cool. And I watched this video, and basically the whole video is she's a ballerina for New York City, and she does the Nutcracker. And it was like her full day from when she wakes up to not when she goes to bed, I guess, but like her whole entire day. And it shows what she does to prepare to be like a ballerina, because she's the main girl. She's the main one. She's the sugar plum fairy, I guess, essentially. She's the main girl out there. And I was like, this is really interesting. It's interesting to kind of watch and learn about somebody's life of things that you normally wouldn't do. You know what I mean? Like things that you maybe are interested in, but maybe are just like, that's very interesting, like a different perspective on something. So I was like, that's cool. And then I was like, Condé Nast, like, that name sounds familiar. So I go through their YouTube channel, and they have so many videos of all sorts of things, mostly travel. Because I think Condé Nast, if I'm mistaken, is has something to do with hotels, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But they have all these different series that I literally have watched like every single one of them, because I was like, this is so good. So the first one after I watched the ballerina one was How to Experience Paris Like a Local. And the series is called Internet versus Expert. So it's kind of the basis of it was, when you're going on a trip and you're Googling everything, like where to go and what to do, these people are saying, yeah, you could do that. You can do all the touristy things, but here are the things that you could also do instead. And I really like that. And they go to different cities and different countries, and they go through, instead of doing the super touristy thing, come and do this instead kind of thing. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. Like, I really love that. So this one was cool. The one was cool. And there's a whole bunch. There's a whole entire, like, pretty much every city you can think of is pretty much there. And I was like, that's really cool. So I watched a lot of this kind of around Christmas. So I've been watching these throughout the last few months, and I really, really love all their videos. It's really good. So if you love traveling, I definitely recommend watching this series. And then another one that I was watching is, so kind of same thing, like in a different city. It's professional chefs that go to their favorite restaurants. So the first one, the one I screenshotted, it's where you should eat in Mexico City, according to Pro Chef. So this kind of snowballed into their series, where I can't remember what it's called. Let me see. So the series is called Where the Chefs Eat. And yes, basically they go around to different restaurants in different cities, and they talk about the restaurants that these professional chefs eat and they love and enjoy. And it isn't just obviously their own restaurants, like it's different restaurants that they go to. And I just like, that's really cool. A lot of it's very high end, like places you probably could never afford. I couldn't afford, but I was like, it's still interesting. I still love stuff like that. So if you're also a foodie and you like those kind of things where you're kind of like, you like the mix of culture and travel, but also food, and knowing like where you want to go and what you want to see, is definitely interesting in that regard of like where you want to go in that city, basically. So I really like that series. It was nice to kind of like watch those videos and just like, instead of, I don't know, watching something that's not really that like exciting, or I don't know, it made me feel good just watching it, and it made me want to travel. It makes me want to go to those places and experience those things. So then another kind of channel popped up on my kind of recommended videos on YouTube. So mostly all the media that I'm going to be talking about are YouTube channels or YouTube videos. I will kind of do this series again and throughout with maybe different types of media like books and stuff, if anybody's interested in me doing that again. But mostly this was YouTube videos, because for me, like I like physical media or visual media like YouTube, movies, all of that. When it was around Christmas time, this video came up, and it's titled A Brief History of Weird and Wonderful Victorian Christmas Cards. And the YouTube channel is Victoria and Albert Museum. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And this whole video goes through all these, I don't even know, like, I guess antique vintage Christmas cards that they would have given out during the Victorian times. And it's really, really cool. Like the intricacies and the effort that goes into these Christmas cards was really, really interesting. And honestly, like, I feel like there is a market of people out there that would love these types of things today. And you were used to just like the little open kind of card, right? Twofold or whatever. And these were like there was one, it was like a piece of bread and it had like a little knife and a little piece of butter. And it was like, I can't remember what it said, but it was like all these intricate little things that I just feel like we don't really see anymore. We don't see these types of like cool, you know, unique things. It's very just the same standard thing. Like there are very cool cards out there that I see all the time, but this was like, it wasn't just like, oh, like, it was actually shaped like a piece of toast and it had a piece of like a piece of paper that was shaped like a knife, like all these things. And I'm like, wow, it's so simple. And it's kind of like, okay, what's so exciting about that? But it was interesting, like the way they were talking about it and like what it represented during that time. And like a lot of things they had that they were giving, like you would send out, it represented something. It represented something for those people at that time. And I feel like it was very interesting to kind of understand that and be like, huh, okay, interesting, cool. Obviously, there's like to me, yeah, today, like, oh, okay, a piece of bread, like, cool. But at that time, like, that obviously meant something to somebody. And that's why it was interesting. And yeah, the video goes on. There's all sorts of stuff. I definitely recommend. I know it's Christmas, we're over Christmas, but it's still a really cool video to watch. And then the same channel, another video, it was laying the table. So these were all things that you would have out on your dinner table or if you were hosting a Christmas. And it was most of these videos are historical. So it's the pieces that people have used throughout history, or maybe like antique pieces or vintage pieces. And this one was also another Christmas one. So it was Wacky and Whimsical Christmas. And it was all these different things that people used back in the day. And it was just another kind of cool thing that you can see, like beautiful, unique pieces that you wouldn't really see nowadays unless you went to a vintage store or antique store. I don't know. I love stuff like that. I love seeing like vintage or antique things. I feel like we're really getting into that vintage, thrifty kind of vibe because if you know what, honestly, people made good stuff back then. That's why it lasts so long. Because people actually made effort to make things instead of just like high volume of things that we have now. So really cool thing. Definitely recommend that channel if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. I think it's really cool and just to see what they have out there. Going into the next video that was also from the same channel, unboxing tarot cards throughout the ages. This one was really cool. This was a really cool video if you're really into esoteric or tarot cards or any of those things. And the title is Ancient and Rare Historical and Modern Tarot Cards. And they go through all the tarot cards, and a lot of them were actually really, really old, like basically from when they first started making tarot cards. And it was cool to see like the little symbols that they would draw and like why they would draw them and the pictures and the things. And obviously throughout history and throughout different cultures, there was different types of tarot cards and different meanings for things and all that kind of stuff. So it was really interesting. And especially to see something vintage like that, like to have a vintage or even an antique set of tarot cards, like if you're into that kind of stuff, it's really, really cool. And this video kind of goes through that and explains all of that kind of stuff. And it was just like, I don't know, just really like, I don't know, to me, I love stuff like that. I love history. I love learning about the things and what people did and what people, what they wore, what they ate, or even down to like hosting a party, like what would they do? What was the kind of process to that and all those things? Like, because a lot of times you have to understand what we do today is a reflection of a lot of things that people did throughout history, right? And there was a time where people were really into the esoteric, movement almost. It was pretty much a movement where people were into the seances and the, tarot cards and all these things, which obviously it's kind of funny because it's like a lot of them were white people just doing all these things that like were demonized at one point, right? So it's just kind of interesting to see the history of that and like, kind of understand it a bit more. And yeah, there's like other ones like this one, conserving a delicate 18th century fan, kind of the process of what they did and how they like preserve it. This one was museum conservation behind the scenes. So that's really cool. Like if you love behind the scenes of like museums, definitely a good video to see for that. And they have lots of videos like that. This one was a history of powerful gemstone amulets. So you see a lot of jewelry and amulets and pendants and things that people have worn throughout history or have bought and are made. And I love jewelry, so like seeing the historical pieces that people would have worn was really, really interesting. Another kind of deep dive into, historical stuff if you really enjoy that. So kind of shifting to kind of a different kind of topic. So I saw this video come up and it was the story behind John Galliano's viral 2024 Maison Margiela show. And this is basically kind of like a behind the scenes almost, but kind of more of like a sit down kind of going through how John Galliano kind of did the show and his inspiration and stuff. I have always followed fashion. I've always loved fashion and fashion designers and all of those things. So when I was younger, I would watch a lot of fashion television. It was actually like a channel on the TV. And I would watch a show with Jeannie Becker. She would go around. She was basically like a fashion journalist, or she is a fashion journalist, and she would just go to different fashion shows and interview fashion designers and talk to them about their shows and all of that. And I really, you got to see a lot of behind the scenes and got to know a lot of why people were doing what they were doing, why they were creating. And at the time, John Galliano, he was the head of Christian Dior, and he's very unique in the way that he constructs and designs, and he did a lot of things for Christian Dior. And unfortunately, he basically got fired from Christian Dior because I think he came out and he said some things. I want to say he said some anti-Semitic things, or he said something that was offside. And I don't want to talk too much on it because I feel like there's some stuff there that I'm not too privy to. So anyways, he kind of got out of the fashion scene, the mainstream fashion scene. And I think he doesn't really touch on it too much, but he kind of touches on it a tiny bit, that he kind of comes back into his resurgence into fashion again, and especially into a kind of a household name like Maison Margiela. And, it's nice to see him coming back, and you really see his inspiration in fashion and his muses and his touch on things, and to hear him talk about it and see it. And it's seeing him and knowing him from what he was doing with Christian Dior, it was nice to see him have kind of a resurgence. And that's why I didn't want to speak too much on his like canceling and stuff, because I don't really know a whole lot of it. I just remember he said something and it wasn't good and people were like, no. It was a really cool video. Gwendolyn Christie, which in the screenshot you can see her, she was a big muse for him for this show. And I love her. I loved her as Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones. And she's a beautiful woman, and she's very into the fashion scene, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see that. So she was a big inspiration, and they kind of go through and they Pat McGrath, she kind of created this kind of like it's almost like this porcelain doll makeup look that was really, really popular in 2024. And how they designed it, and how Pat McGrath kind of came up with this idea, and how she kind of she literally created a product to make this look. And it was just so interesting, like the intricacies of and that's what I love about fashion, is the artistry that goes into each and every look and idea. And it's not just clothes slapped on a model and they're walking out. No, there's intention. And that's what I miss about, these fashion designers and their intentions. Like, I feel a lot of it's just like, oh yeah, no, like, and that's why I loved Marc Jacobs too. Like, there was a lot of intention, or even Alexander McQueen, rest in peace, just the artistry that goes behind these things. And yeah, if you really love fashion as well, really cool video. I definitely recommend checking it out. Sticking with fashion, Maison Margiela. So I actually did watch the show, and it's on YouTube as well. Pretty sure this is the same one. I'll screenshot it here. Maison Margiela artisanal. Is it artisanal? 2024 collection. So I'm pretty sure that's the same fashion show that they were talking about. Yeah, because I think I end up watching after it. I love when fashion designers have their own YouTube and they upload their fashion shows, because I love watching fashion shows. And there's something about it that just calms my nerves. I think it was from when I was when I was younger and I would watch these shows on fashion television, like I said. And it's just, there's something like for me so therapeutic to just watch like models down a runway and wear these cool outfits and like just the whole thing and the music and just I love it. I love it. I love it. I could eat it up. I remember when I was younger, and I'm pretty sure Toronto has a fashion week too. And I was like, I would love to go. I don't even know if they still do that, honestly. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I was like, oh my God, I would love, 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 love to just sit. I don't even need to sit front row. I don't even care if I'm like, I could be in the back corner somewhere and I'd be like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Sticking with fashion, I'll continue with that and then we can move on to another topic. I just watched the Chanel Spring Summer 2026 Haute Couture show. You guys, this was the best fashion show I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of good ones, okay? The music, the sound effects. There was like birds and little nature sounds and the music and the whole show, the oh my gosh. The clothing. I'm not really a big Chanel girl. I appreciate it. I respect it. I love it. But the clothes, you guys have to watch this video. Even if you're not really into fashion, just the artistry that goes into these outfits and the show and everything, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful show. I'm very envious of the people that got to sit there and watch that. But we can watch it too. But obviously being in person and seeing it is like, wow. Definitely really cool. I also have another YouTube channel that I follow. I will screenshot it here somewhere. I can't remember it right now. I think it's something fashion something. And they pretty much show every runway that ever comes out, any fashion shows or runways or whatever for any of fashion weeks or whatever. They pretty much show everything in every season, which is really cool. So you can go and watch your fashion show of your favorite designer, if you have a favorite one, and see what that is for that season or whatever. They have everything, like every designer you can think of. I really like that too. I haven't watched that in a while, but that would definitely be another kind of media that I'm consuming. Let's pivot to a different topic. Nature shows. I think I talked about this once in one of my elevation videos or if it was the personal curriculum. And this was before I ever did a personal curriculum, but I love space. I love space facts. I love space videos. And there was this one video, it was 5 hours long. It's a YouTube video. And it was all about space. And it was basically just a compilation of different BBC shows about space. And it was really interesting. And I love stuff like that. I do nerd out. If I have to nerd out on something, honestly, it's space stuff. Space stuff or nature. But also fashion and all the other kind of things. But if we're going to talk nerdy, we're talking about space. Like, I love space. But this one is 2 hours with the Earth's most extraordinary animals. So BBC Earth has a channel and they put out a lot of different episodes and videos and whatnot. And because I love Planet Earth, I love those kind of things. And, yes, you can find it on a streaming platform, but I really like that they have their own YouTube channel, that they put out stuff. And it's really nice for people who maybe don't really want to spend another $10 on a streaming service when they can just go on YouTube and watch it for free. Like, hello. So it's really nice to see that. And you can pretty much watch most of the BBC Earth videos and like all those kind of episodes and whatnot. If you really like those kind of shows about planet Earth and like animals and stuff, like most of the David Attenborough shows are on there, which is nice. So that's another kind of media that I like to consume is like animal stuff because I love animals and watching all that kind of stuff. So it's not really nature per se, but kind of going back to when I first started the video and talking about kind of watching things and things that maybe you wouldn't really do or understand or not particularly, I don't want to say not like, but I saw this video come up. My YouTube algorithm is all over the place. It's insane. Anyways, and it says, America's deepest cave, terrifying. And this guy, he goes into this cave. Now, these caving videos are over the top. Some of them, it's like, why would you do this? But people love it. People do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this video because I'm intrigued. So he goes into this deep cave with about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 guys, and they go into this cave in somewhere in America, I can't remember. And it's one of the deepest, dangerous caves. And basically you kind of start out and you kind of walk through, and then you go through some tight spots where you literally have to like pull yourself through. And then there's one where it's like a 200-foot drop. And it's like they have to hoist themselves down, and then they kind of continue. There's like another thing they have to go through, and there's another drop. Like it's like insane. Like literally insane. I don't know how these people do these things. Anyways, it took them I think like 18 hours. Like almost like over 12 hours to do. And I just think like how how like why like anyways, so stuff like that I think is interesting where you're like, I'm not really into that. I would never do that. But you know what? Like it was a really interesting video, honestly. And I was like, And basically the guys, the cavers, they call themselves cavers. They say like it's cool to go somewhere that not everybody has ever seen. Like it's cool to go into these caves because you know a lot of people won't go in there or haven't been in there. So for them, it's like an escape from reality to go into these places, right? But it was really interesting. Not something I would ever do. All right, I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. 2 more kind of videos that I've seen. I also really love Architectural Digest and going into different celebrities' homes. My personal favorite is actually Kendall Jenner. I love her homes. I don't care what anybody says, but she has cool homes. Like just I don't know. There's something about her homes I really, really like. And I can't remember who else I really like, but there's a few other people that their homes are very interesting to me. The one that I screenshot is Paloma Alcers. I can't say her last name. I'm sorry. Timeless Brooklyn home. She had a really cool, basically it was like kind of like an apartment, I think, but we'll just say home. She had a really cool home, and it was very like unique, different. And I like when people do something not super traditional and like kind of just throw everything at the wall and they just kind of like have a cool style. And I felt like this one was really cool because she just talks about how like she has a multi-generational home. She has people that live in her home. It's not just her by herself. And you know, she designs it very like intentional and just I don't know, there's just something interesting about the way that she like kind of did it. And I know she's a model and I've never really heard her talk or like do anything. So it was kind of cool to see something kind of a bit more like intimate, I guess, like being in her home. But I really love those videos and I always kind of rewatch them or watch them when they come up and just seeing people's homes. And obviously some of them are like over the top, like, okay, but it's cool. It's really cool to see. And their channel too is really cool. They have lots of different types of videos. So if you're into that kind of stuff, definitely recommend. And then my last video, it was this one. So 10 artworks to see at the Louvre behind the masterpiece. So they basically go into the Louvre in Paris and they go through all the different kind of exhibits, a lot of the really popular ones. So like the Mona Lisa and then the one, gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It's the one that it's a woman's bodice and her arms. So basically it was, I can't remember. Was it a Greek statue? Can't remember if it was a Greek statue. Basically at one point, the body was all together, but obviously throughout time, the arms broke off and they actually found the arms and all of that. I don't think they ever found the head, but basically it's the really well-known one. I will insert a clip with the proper name and all of that. And they kind of reconstructed it to have these big wings on the back of it. Because originally that's not how it was. It was just like no head, no arms, just the bodice, it's kind of interesting how it kind of landed that way. But they added the wings as like a kind of like an extra touch to it, which I think is really cool. It was cool to see like the history behind all these really well-known pieces or exhibits or all these kind of, things in the Louvre and like what they do to take care of it and like the history of it and like all these different things. So if you also love art and history and all of that, definitely another really cool kind of channel or video to check out. And this channel is Behind the Masterpiece. So it's all about art and art history and all of that. So definitely another really cool channel to check out. So if you're interested in that, definitely recommend. I don't know if you guys can tell, I really love like educational kind of videos because I like to learn. I'm always learning, and that's what I did do. I did enjoy about my personal curriculum. I kind of fell off with the personal curriculum, to be honest with you. I don't really know if I really want to school myself. I just really just like to consume things about things, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any suggestions of media you guys like to consume, let me know. We can chit chat about it in the comments because I am very interested. And maybe you can recommend other videos or media that you guys, like I said, like to consume because I love to watch different types of videos and learn about different types of things. And yeah, so yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any ideas or suggestions for any future videos, let me know as well. Definitely open to that. I will catch you guys in another vlog. I should likely have another vlog uploaded after this video. And we'll catch you in another episode of YAP Sessions very, very soon. All right. Thank you guys. See ya.